If you look at Galaxyland, or rather, look back at its former identity of Fantasyland, you might notice an interesting pattern when it comes to rides. And no, I'm not talking about the fact that they're all space-themed. Or, at least they were space-themed. We're probably going to see a deviation from that naming convention with the new Hasbro transformation in the park. But prior to that announcement, there was no shortage of galactic ride names in Galaxyland. Most of us are familiar with all of it. The Galaxy Orbiter, the Space Shot, the Solar Flare, the Cosmic Revolution, the Solar Spinner, the Galaxyland Express. Well, you get the idea. But I'm actually not here to talk about titling rides in an outer space-themed amusement park with outer space names. No, today we're talking about a pattern which always existed in the park, ever since it expanded in 1985-86 to its current complete size.
Disneyland, eat your heart out!
That was Nader Gurmezian's battle cry as he spoke at the official opening of Canada Fantasyland.
Prior to this expansion, when the park opened in 1983, Fantasyland was only as large as the space from where Zero Gravity sits over to the carousel's current home. The rest of the park, where the more intense rides currently reside, wasn't a part of the park until it expanded in the mid-1980s. At that point, Fantasyland was fully complete to the spec that it was originally envisioned. And it did a fantastic job of offering a wide appeal. And that wide appeal goes back to the pattern which I mentioned previously. I was quite young when I first started visiting Fantasyland with my parents. The park is only a year older than me, so when growing up with my brother and our friends who all loved visiting Westempton Mall, well, we would just sit and stare wide-eyed at the intensity of the Mindbender, or experience the overwhelming feeling of watching the plummeting cars on the daring drop of doom. But for those of us with older friends who were riding these intense rides, the park did a fantastic job of developing a pattern to appease those of us who were younger and physically smaller. Many of the larger rides seemed to have a version which appealed to a younger audience. The Perilous Pendulum, also known simply as the Upside Down Boat, had its own younger, gentler sibling, the Flying Galleon. The Mindbender, which pulls more G-force than all but one other coaster in North America, offered the Autosled as its gentler version. Though I suppose I should mention that we eventually got the Galaxy Orbiter as well. And even today, the Space Shot has the Cosmic Bounce. You might consider the Funhouse to be a smaller version of the Haunted House. You could even consider the former Kiddie Convoy as a toddler version of the Carousel. But maybe I'm reaching. Still, there always seemed to be enough to satisfy both the younger and older kids in the family. But there is no mission from that pattern. At least one which we've seen as of late. With a height requirement of 50 inches, Galaxyland's bumper cars, known, for now, as Cosmos Space Derby, have a height limit which lines up with that of the average 8-year-old. These are the main bumper cars in the park, and have been since the park opened in 1983. It wasn't until Fantasyland's expansion that there was a second, smaller set of bumper cars. Known originally simply as the Kiddie Bumper Cars, these were the first bumper cars that I ever experienced. I vividly remember riding them and not being able to figure out how to turn the wheel enough to make the car actually move forward. Pretty sure I got it eventually though. In the park's 1995 transformation to Galaxyland, these bumper cars were renamed the Space Bump. And so, that's how it was. For over 30 years, the main entrance has brought guests into the park, in between these two rides. Turn right and take a bump on the full-size bumper cars, or turn left, walk down beside the Flying Galleon, and arrive at the smaller version. That is, until 2018 anyway. By the end of January of that year, the Space Bump was completely boarded up. And only a few months later, in March, the electrified ceiling which once powered the Kiddie Bumper Cars was removed. The floor was replaced with poured concrete, and the back wall, which once existed behind the attraction, had a section removed from it. While the overhead casino expansion had forced the relocation of the Carousel and Flying Galleon, and at the same time made room for the very excellent Zero Gravity ride, known today as an attraction which is in trouble, the area against this wall was still vacant. Though they did make excellent use of it when the Pokemon Go craze took off. Remember that? Anyway, as construction proceeded, it became clear that the area wasn't being repurposed for rides, but rather more arcade and redemption game space. But wait a minute. Didn't they already have a space for games and arcades right next to the Big Kid bumper cars? Yes, they sure did. Seeing as most of the games were already along that one section of Galaxyland, I guess it made sense to want to keep everything close together, especially considering the redemption desk for those prizes would be there too. So it wasn't long before the brand new and very shiny area of Galaxyland was open for business. But what about the kiddie bumper cars? I mean, the Space Bump. Was that ride really removed completely just to make room for arcades? Well, maybe. But then again, maybe not. Remember where those arcade machines used to live? Well, that area has been closed off for as long as it's been since they moved the games out of there, hiding behind a very attractive looking billboard pumping Hasbro's arrival to the park. And if you look at the official Galaxyland map, the one which now shows the newest arcade area in the park, well, it also shows the only bumper cars remaining in the park. And beside them, nothing but another very familiar looking platform. It looks the same as the bumper cars right beside it, only with no bumper cars. So is it possible that they merely swapped spots? Did they not want a bunch of redemption games over there when, back then, the redemption area was all the way over here? Was the move made so the arcades could be in one area, while at the same time, the opportunities could be acted upon to both upgrade the bumper cars from the old electrified ceiling style and also move the ride to live beside the other bumper cars? All timed perfectly along with the Hasbro transformation of the amusement park? Well, probably. But I actually don't know. Really, it's just been on my mind that the smaller bumper car attraction was shut down in early 2018 and I hadn't really spoken about it at all. I'm sure we'll have to keep an eye on the area as the Hasbro transformation of the park unfolds. But the next time you're walking through Galaxyland, powered by Hasbro, why not stop and play a few arcade games? And when you do, remember, you're standing in a spot which delighted kids for over 30 years. Back when bigger boats had smaller boats, and before ride tickets were virtual, offering a gentler, bumpy experience. Remember, the original home of the kiddie bumper cars. Hey guys, I just wanted to give a special shout out to my supporters on Patreon. I truly love making these videos, and your support helps me to do so. I would love to make even more of these, and the more support I get on Patreon, the more I'll be able to do. So why not head over to my Patreon page and let me know what extras and bonuses you'd like to see. I could really use some ideas about what I can offer you guys. And as always, thanks to everyone who subscribes and watches my videos. It's not just lip service. I really appreciate having fans like you. Getting back to the bumper cars, to be fair, we actually don't know for certain if they're coming back until we see more of the park's Hasbro transformation. What are you most excited to see when the park reopens? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, give us a like and a share, and maybe even visit that Patreon page. And why not check out one of our other videos, all about the greatest indoor show on earth, West Edmonton Mall. Oh, and thanks for watching.